think we need to push harder. Yeah.
For public school students like Elijah Scuderi, standardized testing isn't a choice, or so many thought, until parents like his mom, Royale, started speaking up.
So it's become onerous, I think. It's a terrible burden. I think it places too much.
Elijah went to Otto Shortle Middle School in Oneida the day he was expected to take the Common Core test. But when the other students picked up their pencils, Elijah put his down.
You always feel pressured because you don't want to mess up.
Elijah hopes to be an aerospace engineer one day. He loves math, science, and social studies, especially history. But he spends much of his days preparing for a test.
They're definitely focusing on the tests and trying to get you prepared and making sure you do your best.
A lot of it is teaching to the test. They have to teach to the test.
And that's why his mom is finally speaking out, saying enough is enough, opting him out of the test and joining a growing grassroots movement against state testing. For Scuderi, this is also very personal. After all, it's her son's education at stake. She sees opting out as an act of civil disobedience, a way to send a message to the state.
I think it's time for me to say enough. I have a problem with this, and I can't expect the school district or the state to know that I have a problem with it unless I raise my hand and say, no, we're not going to do this.
While public and charter schools must administer the test, private schools have the option, and what they choose to do depends on the school. Students at Faith Heritage and MANLIUS Pebble Hill do not take the test, but children at Christian Brothers Academy do, along with students at all the schools within the Syracuse Diocese, including Bishop Grimes, Bishop Ludden, and IC.
We've just decided that state testing is one of those tools that will help us improve the education.
As the superintendent of schools for the Syracuse Diocese, Christopher Momini has been following the controversy closely. He supports state testing, saying he believes in the intrinsic value of it and the benefit it gives students.
We are able to do a deep dive into the data to see where our kids missed, where our kids need help, where we can improve our instruction. So that's invaluable to us.
So when given the choice to administer the tests or not, why did he decide to give them?
I think it keeps our kids at a competitive advantage. There's no question that if we dropped Regents or if we dropped other state tests, that our kids would, I believe, would be at a deficit to their peers.
Momini believes not giving the test puts kids a step behind other students. Giving them, he says, helps with teacher development and gives parents a sense of how their child is doing.
And as long as it's driving our instructional agenda, then great. And as long as it's keeping our kids at a competitive advantage. The moment that we put our kids at a disadvantage, I think, then we'll look in a different direction.
In New York State, we're approaching test time.
For its part, the state says the tests play an important role in holding school districts accountable, making sure teachers are doing their jobs and students are making the grade. The state education department has said, quote, the goal is to make certain that all students are on track to succeed in college and have meaningful careers when they graduate high school. Parents who keep their children from taking these tests are essentially saying, I don't want to know where my child stands. And we think that's doing them a real disservice.
There's absolutely no benefit for the child whatsoever.
But public school parents like Royale Scuderi aren't buying it. She believes there's a place for tests, but feels they shouldn't be tied to funding and certainly shouldn't carry so much weight. As she joins the growing chorus of parents protesting, Scuderi hopes the state will be forced to listen.
I think we're starting to get close to a tipping point where the state is going to have to say, okay, we hear you.
Now, Syracuse Catholic schools get some state funding to give the test, but they say it's only a small amount and that their performance reviews aren't tied just to the results, which Momini says sets them apart from public schools. Reporting tonight, I'm Megan Coleman.